Okay, so this is US, but it's hurricane activity. And I will prelude this one video with a quick note. I did do a video for Canada and hurricanes. It is going to get affected by one. And in that, I did mention a few things about this area here being affected with that particular hurricane that's going to be actually coming towards Newfoundland. But also there's another one that's going to affect Nova Scotia. But as it does bring in some of the states, you might like to watch it. It's a short one, and it's named Canada US/US hurricanes. Okay, so we have had a lot of strange weather, as you know, and quite a few huge amounts of activity with hurricanes, even though they have been what seems to be a low hurricane count, but there's a lot of tropical storms. So east and west. So here we go. I haven't done the review because it really hasn't been the end of the year. I still see there is a possibility of one really more a tropical storm by the end of the year, and that is being affected by a storm that's come in, and it's coming in here low, and it kind of meanders, but it does become a tropical storm and slightly affects the tip of North Carolina. Not anything huge, but there is torrential rain, so it's a tropical storm. Now that's before the end of the year. Now the others, they're all coming in different areas, and I'm just trying to, and I know that as much as 4 or 5 were at one time counted in this whole area here. Now the weather is changing. I think the meteorologists have already confirmed that, but I'm going to give you some of the major ones coming in that's going to affect the states. First we'll do the East Coast, and there is one coming in from this area here, right about here, and it's pretty fast actually for what it is traveling, and it's a tropical depression storm. Then it goes to an F1 here, develops an F1, and it takes a loop up through the Dominican Republic onto the edge here, and kind of even to 1.5 to near 2, but it's not quite. It breaks up and it continues up here, all right? Then there's one coming in from here, and it does kind of a weird loop round, and there's weather coming in, and then it goes down and then swoops in. They think it's going to hit Florida and Miami, but it doesn't. It literally brushes it, and it is an F2, F3 at this point, and it comes into the Gulf, where it kind of has a resurgence of it round about this area, and comes into the tip of Louisiana and Houston. So those two kind of makes landfall of F1, H whatever, Cat 1. Sorry, I'm getting all my Fujita scales mixed up with the other. Anyway, it's an H1, Hurricane 1, and it hits kind of Houston here and Louisiana, and affects those. Low-lying areas, there'll be flooding, tropical storms, and it does go to San Antonio as far as that, and it's really a storm that's really going to bring a lot of rain. And I'm afraid we'll talk about flooding in another video, but we are going to see a lot more floods next year. Now, another one. There's one that's coming in, and it comes from here, and it just kind of does a up and down loop here, and really progresses into an F3, F4, kind of touching on an F5, and they're really worried about it since it's coming towards the North Carolina and South Carolina coast. But it really suddenly peters out. It kind of slows, meanders, slows into an F1, F2, and veers up, not really making landfall as much, but round about here makes landfall into North Carolina, Virginia, and dissipates. But we've got a lot of flooding and bad weather, tropical storm activity here into that neck of the woods. Okay, that could come round about August next year, so watch it. There's going to be about 4 or 5 storms all at once, by the way, kind of fighting for their own, either feeding each other or sitting on each other and kind of flattening them to the point where it doesn't exist anymore. I know it sounds weird, but that's what I'm seeing. So this region here is going to be pretty active. The waters seem to have changed. Anyway, I don't know if it's like cold water and then the warm water, and I don't know what's going on there. But it seems that the ocean currents have been changing, I see, in the last 18 to 20 months. So I don't know, somebody could let me know if that's true or not. Coming in, another one, and it comes really pretty direct into and going in F1, F2, and really peters out, but coming into Philadelphia, which New Jersey, Philadelphia, and they're worried about the storm surges there. There is a bit of flooding on the shore there. Now there's a particularly nasty one coming in, and again originating from this area, and it comes in, what can I say, it loops. It's kind of not exactly a loop, but anyway, it kind of meanders and then goes through the strait here, and then comes in, and it looks as if it's just going to hit, not here, but it comes into Houston, Louisiana, that area here. And I'm seeing it could be a F3, F4, sorry, I did it again, H1, Cat 1, Cat 2, Category 1, 2, and in here, into this area. But it's into that broad spectrum here. That's where it really hits. It's quite a large one, and brings a huge amount of rain and heavy, and there will be tornadoes there, by the way. Because as it goes inland and it swoops in, and it doesn't really hit Dallas, but it just kind of swoops right into Arkansas and brings bad weather into Tennessee and Kentucky and Mississippi. So that one goes in, and it's an F3 touching on an F4. I think it was an F4, but it goes down to F3 and then really brings the whole storm system looping right, okay? And really peters out when it gets to Kentucky, Indiana. All right, so watch it. It will kind of spread all the way here. All right. There'll be about 17 storms, significant. I'm not talking about the smaller ones that peter off in tropical storms, but there will be about 17 that I see. And they're really starting around about July, the majority of them. So basically, those are the ones that are going to be pretty significant. There is one, though, that's coming in that trying to see the pattern. It's like here, comes here, comes here, comes here, and it loops as if it goes up, and it's an S2, F3, F4, I think. And it looks like an F5 hitting right into Florida, Miami, into this section, Jacksonville, not Sarasota, but it'll affect, it's quite a big one, big storm system. But the cat, it hits at about Cat 3, Cat 4 into here. And it's really on this coast and continues out and does affect, and it's as if it's such a large system, it even comes back in here and hits into this coastline in here. That one is going to be round about late July, August, round about that, maybe a bit later. So that be warned of, okay? But these islands get hit pretty badly because it's still traveling. They're worried because it initially looks as if it's going to come in and touches the Dominican Republic, but it loops and then comes back into Florida, gets drawn in there. So hopefully, that's just a warning. Hopefully, again, as always, when I do this, the weather, I hope that helps. But I'm going to go quickly, just a minute, and I'm going to go into a few hurricanes which are going to affect the West Coast. I hope I'm wrong with all of these anyway. But there is one that's coming in on the West Coast, and let me just, trying to get, there were quite a few on the West Coast, and I'm just trying to find them. If you give me a minute, I'm going to change it to the next video. Okay, so this is the Pacific Coast hurricane activity, and I've been talking about hurricane activity on the Pacific Coast, and a lot of people thought I was strange and getting it wrong, but apparently there were a total, and I'll quickly look it up here, of something ridiculous this year of 12 hurricanes, major hurricanes. There were 9, and 22 unofficial, well, unofficial one, but 22 depressions. Total storms were 19. So I wasn't that wrong, I suppose, but unfortunately we are going to get hit. It seems that there's going to be more activity. So I'm just going to go over a few things here, which you will see. It's the warmer waters here, but they mostly hug the coast here, the Gulf of California there, Baja coast rather, and all of here in Mexico. And there's going to be about 13 significant ones, not major. I would say there's about 10 tropical storms, and let's see, it's going to come in. The ones that I'm going to touch on are the ones that are a bit more aggressive. That one is coming in from here, and it looks like an F2, F3, sorry, I'm doing it again, Cat 2, Cat 3, and it hits at about Cat 3 into this area here. And there's a lot of flooding and tropical storms, and it does go in a bit into Mexico, and then goes out and peters out. There's another one that comes in, and it actually starts from here, and it meanders, and it looks as if it's building fast. Well, not so much there, sorry, it's coming in here, and it's an F2, F4, F5, and then it's round about here, it hits an F5, but it really is a slow moving one, and it looks as if it's going to hit Honolulu dead on. But quite frankly, what I'm seeing is it's still an F5 and then an F4 here, F2, F3, F2, and it just clips. The eye is here, so it does still give some bad weather to the Hawaiian Islands over here. Okay, there's one that kind of does a loop from here and then goes in an F3. The highest it becomes is an F3. I'm doing it again, I'm so sorry. Cat 3, and it just Category 3 storm, and it just loops round and comes into, it's kind of through the islands, and it's splitting it through Hilo in between, but by then it's like not exactly a tropical storm, but it's an Cat 1. So that's one. Then there's others that looks, there's a fast one coming in, and it comes in, and it's as if it hugs the coast, and it's a real worry because it looks like by here it's about a 5, Category 5, and it looks as if it's just going to loop into LA, Los Angeles, but it just hugs the coast. So there's going to be a lot of activity in there, all right, into Los Angeles before it dissipates. But you will see that there's really, it's all kind of a strange activity that it's all originating here from this area and then just meandering. And there's one here that just starts up and then meanders and doesn't do too much. So tropical storms, the ones that are going to really are the one hit are the ones that and cause damage are there, but it's the shipping lanes that they're worried about too. There may be, I see one major fishing vessel that they're looking for that got caught. So that's a bit sad on that one. So just be aware of the weather, obviously, but heed the warnings, because these storms are going to be coming in more rapidly through the years to come as the weather is changing. Okay, thanks for joining me on the hurricanes for this year. 2019. Get it right.